Hey, what's up, guys? Ex-Morgan and ex-Jared. And we are here for episode 5 of Cringe Binge. We really need to just start doing these more often because there is no shortage of cringe. So here we go. Jared's just sharing the link. So anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for everyone who joined the live last night. It was so much fun. If you didn't see it, go watch it. It was super fun. It's just the most recent video before this one. And yeah, comment where you're watching from, and here we go. I'm gonna get us started with the first cringy moment. Oh, and as a preface, these moments are coming from you guys, from forums that I've posted on. These are people sharing either their immediate, like experience, like I did this thing, or someone that they knew that did it. So it's always really funny. Okay, here we go. Nope, wrong button. There we are. Okay. Is this the first one? There it goes. Okay. My then girlfriend and I were driving home from a date on a Saturday night. We decided to stop at a fast food place for ice cream. The drive-thru employee said the ice cream machine was broken. We then looked at the clock, and lo and behold, it was past midnight. So it was technically Sunday morning. First, I just want to point out that they were definitely at McDonald's. And I am really starting to think that their ice cream machine is never broken. They are just lazy, or they already cleaned it for the night or something.
Or maybe we just don't need fast food ice cream and they're doing us a favor.
Yes. Yeah, McDonald's is really trying to keep people skinny.
I think they should also be out of triple cheeseburgers sometimes.
Yeah, no, if they really wanted people to be skinny, they would probably just shut down.
They'd probably burn down all of their...
Yeah. Yep.
Destroy it.
Yeah, no, I was definitely one of those Mormons where I was like, so if you're not familiar with Mormonism, you're not supposed to shop on Sunday. It's not respecting the Sabbath day. It's not keeping it holy. And like another excuse that they would say for that too was like, if you don't shop on Sunday, then people can have Sunday off, so they don't have to work on Sunday, so they can go to church. So it's like, anyway, I was definitely one of those Mormons that would not shop on Sunday, including like midnight after Saturday, which was super, super annoying, honestly.
I wouldn't for a while, and then I just did. I had my first job when I went to Wendy's, working there as a 16-year-old. My first Sunday that I had to work, my bishop came through the drive-thru. He was the coolest dude. Bishop.
Ox in the mire.
Yeah. Nah, he's not even making excuses. He just was like, it's stupid. I don't know. He has these 2 fingers missing because he's a farmer and he like lost them with some farming equipment. And he's just this big, awesome guy who just went to Wendy's on Sunday.
There you go.
Nice dude.
Hey, well, you know what? Everyone's a sinner. Okay. On Fast
His last
Sunday.
name was Jensen.
On Fast Sunday, my family would often eat family breakfast where we talked and laughed and had a good time, except when the doorbell rang for the kids gathering fast offerings. Then while my dad went to the door, my entire family would stop and sit silently like statues, holding our breath until the door closed again. Because God forbid someone knows that you eat food. Oh, man. Yeah. I always took Fast Sunday really seriously. I know a lot of my friends, though, like they would just eat when their parents weren't looking. Did you ever do that?
Sometimes I brought food to church or like candy to church in my pocket. There was that one time that me and my friend left during Sunday school on, I think, a Fast Sunday to go get donuts.
Oh, that is super sin.
I know.
Well, if you are watching us, please comment your cringy moments down below and we will read them for everybody. And we're looking for cringy as in like, well, I mean, we just gave some examples, cringy, preferably not super, super sad and depressing. I'd like to keep this somewhat upbeat. There are a lot of sad and depressing stories. So. Okay. Number 3 here. Let's see. I repented about accidentally eating coffee-flavored ice cream. Oh, you've got a story about that one.
No, I did. My grandma took me to. My grandma's like technically Mormon, I think, but she's like never. She's some other type of Christian now, and she's never been Mormon as long as I've known her. But we went to like the ice cream place, and she asked me what kind of ice cream I wanted to get, and I was like, I'm gonna try a new one, and I was like, Jamocha fudge. I've never tried that. I'll try it.
You didn't know what it was.
I didn't know what it was, and I took some bites of it, and I was like, oh, this tastes gross.
Right.
I was like, this tastes like coffee, I think. And I was like, but I don't want to be rude. My grandma bought me ice cream, and I told her,
How did you know it tasted like coffee? Just because of like you smelled coffee?
I think so. I also had like coffee flavored candy and stuff. I knew what coffee tasted like, and I was like, Grandma, this tastes kind of like coffee. She's like, yeah, that's what Jamocha fudge is. I was like, you knew? And she's like, yeah, you wanted it. I don't like. What do you want from me, kid? And so the funny part of that story is coffee flavored ice cream usually has coffee in it. So most Mormons would repent for that. The other funny part of the story is the ice cream shop is owned by my other bishop.
Oh, that's some serious sinnage right there.
Yeah.
Wait, so did you finish the ice cream?
Oh, no. I asked, I was like, do I have to finish it? She's like, no.
You didn't like it, or you were worried it was a sin?
I didn't feel guilty really because it was on accident, but I felt like I shouldn't. It tasted like crap. I didn't like it. I didn't like the taste of coffee at the time, and so I didn't want it.
I feel you. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, no, I would stay away from coffee flavored things because I thought even a coffee flavored thing was a sin.
It's like
Did anyone else think
spirit
that?
of the law.
I was like, if it's a coffee flavored thing, it might actually have coffee in it. So that scared me. Anyway, anyone else have that? All right, here we go. Next one.
I want me to.
Well, unless you're still
right.
posting.
The most cringy thing I remember growing up in a Mormon environment, Provo, Utah, that is very Mormon, was talking about how if we knew how wonderful the lowest kingdom, celestial, was, that we would commit suicide to get there. I think that was actually a Joseph Smith thing. I mean, don't quote me on that, but it's been told to me as a Joseph Smith quote my whole life. And
I think it was him trying to be like radically different from other sects.
It's also him trying to sell the celestial kingdom, because like if the telestial kingdom is the worst place you could go and you would jump off a fucking bridge to go there.
Such unhealthy teachings.
There's 2 levels above that, one of which has multiple levels inside it. So it must oh my God.
Oh God.
Plus it's another way to call yourself faithful. I am so faithful. I didn't kill myself to go to the celestial kingdom.
Mormonism really feels like a pyramid scheme. Like, hey, I can get you in on the ground floor. Then
you get 3 more people in on your downline, and except for in pyramid scheme or in MLM schemes, like if you get people in your downline, you can actually scam them out of money, and you get the money that you scam them out of.
Oh yeah, you don't get like the spiritual brownie points for.
No, in Mormonism, you go on a mission which you have to goddamn pay for yourself, and
it's true.
And then you scam the people out of money, but they don't give it to you; they give it to the church. I didn't even get a cut.
Where's my cut?
All I got was fucking blessings.
Yeah.
I didn't even get those because I was a terrible missionary.
You know, sometimes I think about how like we got married too young, but then I'm like, but if we didn't get married, I would have gone on a mission. So.
Yeah, but you probably would have liked it, honestly.
Oh my God.
I'm not trying to be a
accusations. I probably would have, because I'm pretty social and stuff. I think it would have been harder to look back and be like, oh my God, like that was a year and a half of my life that feels wasted now. I don't know. Because don't you feel that way looking back? I might have enjoyed it at the time, but looking back,
I felt I felt it was a waste at the time while I was doing it.
Yeah, you hated it.
I hated every goddamn second of that mission.
That sucks. That sucks. Well, and they teach you like it's gonna be the best 2 years of your life. That was majorly confusing. That like, did they teach you that?
They taught me that,
was
but
under
I
the
absolutely
assumption that
never.
you were gonna be so happy because you were like 100% devoting your time to God.
So they taught me that, but I never bought it. That's one teaching that I was like, that's not true. And it was an easy, truth to defeat for me, because the first thing I thought of was like, okay, first off, I'm miserable while I'm here. This isn't fun. I don't feel like I'm achieving anything. But also, I feel like if you're to choose at the end of your life the best 2 years of your life, then it would have to be with like your family, right? You'd think it would involve my kids somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably.
Right. Right.
Not where I'm just annoying people asking for 10% of their income.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we've got another cringy moment here, actually, from the comments this time. This one looks good. I would always use the crosswalk to the seminary building in high school, even though it was a lot quicker to walk across the street. I would then use that as a lesson in choosing the right. Oh, that's a good one. That's good.
I think I did some stuff like that too.
I totally did stuff
I can't
like
think
that.
of it, but it was almost like if there was ever an instance where everybody else was doing that thing kind of a tiny bit wrong, it was like it would motivate me to do it right, because it was showing myself that I'm the one person that's doing this right. The
one person that's stacking 10 chairs at a time after state conference.
I broke that code. I didn't grab a bunch of chairs. I grabbed like 2 or 3. I grabbed however many was by.
To be productive.
No, it's because I realized that those dudes that were grabbing all those chairs were actually less efficient, because it took them more time to figure out how to pick up those chairs and walk them. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You're
saying you picked up less chairs because they were dumb?
No, I picked up less chairs. I picked up more chairs than they did. I got chairs picked up faster than they did because I'd only take like 3 or 4 at a time, and they'd try to get like 7 on each arm.
Oh, and it would take longer.
And it takes so long to arrange them on your arm that I get 10 chairs put up.
I see.
Before you get one.
Slow and steady wins the race, guys. All right. If you're joining us live, comment your cringy moments in the live chat. Okay. Here we go. Next one. Oh, this one's funny. Okay, so I gotta get a little bit closer to read it. Now, this was posted in a Facebook group that I was a part of, because, I used to be Mormon, and I saw this. I'm totally the bearer of bad news right now, but in case anyone wants to know, some, I don't know how to pronounce that, chocolates have green tea in them. Sad face. At least 2 of these flavors that I bought. I also checked the peppermint one. It doesn't have any. I'm a chocolate-aholic, which, is better than being an alcoholic, I guess. So this is obviously breaking my heart, but I guess I'm glad that I know. This person is shitty because she could have just let everyone accidentally sin, but instead she had to just break why would you tell them? They could have just kept living their perfect Mormon life and enjoying those amazing chocolates, and you had to ruin it for them. Why would you do that?
You want them to take the blue pill and not know the truth?
No, I want her to just sit with the truth and not ruin it for everybody else.
I'm just saying, if I did everything right and I thought I was going to get my own planet, and then God's like, you accidentally ate green tea for years, okay? And that's why you can be an angel still, but you don't get your own planet. I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, okay, who knew about this? And then that lady would be like, I did. It's like, why didn't you tell me? I'm losing my own planet because of you.
Understand, because it's not a sin if you don't know it's a sin. That's why people who are ex-Mormon are way worse on the totem pole than people that have never been Mormon, because they're sinning against a greater light. You can't sin if you don't know it's a sin. So if you're eating chocolate and you don't know it has tea in it, you're golden.
I don't know. I feel like
as
maybe,
long as you don't know.
You know what?
You could be drinking gin, and as long as you don't know there's alcohol in it,
this is a really,
you're fine.
I don't know. You're trying to find loopholes in God's plan.
Oh my God. No. Okay. There's something else I really, really want to point out about this, Jared. Look closely. Look at the Facebook name. Member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, moms supporting moms. It used to be called LDS moms supporting moms.
God, Nelson's a douchebag.
When Nelson in 2018 came out and said, you can't use the word Mormon, that's a victory for Satan, then they fucking had to change the Facebook name to like the long ass full thing. Anyway, I just thought that was hilarious. So that was twofold. Funny example there. Positive said that's probably why we don't get planets anymore. It's the green tea extract.
Look, Jesus,
it's in everything.
Tell them we're not doing the planet thing anymore because too many people is drinking too much green tea.
Oh my God. That I stand by what I'm saying. If you don't know there's green tea in it, it's not a sin. So you eat whatever you want. Just don't read the label.
Maybe you should know what you're putting into your body.
Maybe you should. That's a whole different issue, though. All right, here we go with the next one.
We had a team building thing at work, and we all agreed to bring something from home that was really important to us and share it with the rest of the team. I brought my framed temple sealing certificate and proceeded to gush about my belief in our eternal marriage and its importance in my life. I bore, how apt, my testimony with as much fervor as I could muster, whilst all my colleagues uncomfortably shuffled their feet and avoided eye contact. Cringe. Ooh, yeah, I don't know. It's fun to learn about people's religions and stuff. If you don't know, they can talk to you about it. But as soon as they start like
preaching at work,
as soon as they start preaching or telling you, my gosh, I'll tell you, it's just I've never been happier.
Yes,
I'm just so blessed.
Because I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about your beliefs, even at work. I think there's a time and place for like talking about your beliefs, and especially if people ask about it. But this wasn't like people were asking about it. This was like I took this opportunity for people to get to know me better, and instead I preached to them instead of like talking about me. But here's the thing is when you're Mormon, a lot of times you don't have a personality outside of being Mormon. So it's like that was her at the time.
You're encouraged not to have a personality outside of it.
It's so sad. Yeah. I still very much struggle with that. Okay, I just got to read this because this is important. OMG, cute hair, girl. I know. Thank you. Okay, I just got to say something funny, though, because recently in a comment in one of my videos, a lot of people have been super sweet about the haircut. They've been like, oh my gosh, your hair looks so cute. I love it. But there's one comment that just said, what's with the lesbian haircut? And I was like, what's with lesbians being the only ones that get the good haircuts? I'm totally joking, but I was just like, that was such a just strange comment. So anyway, I don't know. I'll be a lesbian if that's what it takes.
Well,
women are hot, so
it's been nice, fine. I guess.
This has been nice. Okay, here we go. Next. So this is Crystal Escobar. If you don't know her, she's from Mormon Enlightenment. Super awesome. She's also got a YouTube channel. I believed God wanted me to have another baby after I got my tubes tied. So I went through the reversal surgery, but then never got pregnant. That would be so confusing to be like, like feeling like God is telling me to do this thing. And then like you go through such a like expensive and difficult and I imagine painful procedure. I mean, like I imagine I have to like knock you out for it and it probably takes a couple days or weeks to recover from. I don't know much about it. But and then like you don't get it'd be so confusing. I'd be like, I didn't have enough faith.
I've always wondered how Crystal and Sean were as Mormons because they're very like incredibly motivated and tenacious people, and I just see them diving headfirst into it. Clearly, she did because that's way out of your way to go to.
Yeah.
Sorry, Crystal, that sucks.
Yeah, seriously. All right. Okay, so this is super funny. I gotta explain this one. So someone, a Mormon friend of mine on Facebook posted this where she shared this picture and the picture says, I just want someone to look at me and think she's worth everything. And then if you look close, someone commented down below, Jesus does. Isn't it wonderful? And I was just dying when I saw that because like clearly she's talking about like romance. And for some reason, just go there and be like, isn't it awesome? Jesus has you. And like I'm not like trying to shit on Jesus or whatever, but clearly she was talking about like a man, you know, like an alive man.
Well, on some level
Jesus
you can
is alive.
on
like
some level,
you know, a man that isn't Jesus.
Some level you can kind of see where she's coming from. Then it's like, it's okay. Like, I'm trying to comfort you. You always got Jesus. But then the other half of it is like, you know, I was talking about like companionship with a person that's like physically there.
Oh, God. Yeah. Yep. That's a good one.
Telling me like, oh, you should just be satisfied with this guy who's not physically there and isn't a romantic partner.
You know, you just gotta take what you can get sometimes.
Yeah, I
and
guess.
if that's what you could get, that's what you could get. I mean, yeah, you gotta get it. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, yeah, you can go ahead.
I was sitting in sacrament meeting, giving church one last try. Before leaving, a woman with 8 kids comes up and gives a testimony about temple marriage. That's not the cringiest part. She then proceeds to explain how when she was 13, her mom pulled over to the side of the road and said to all her daughters in the car, "You're all getting married in the temple, right?" The lady thought it was amazing how her mother loved her enough to prompt her to make a promise to get married in the temple at such a young age. Go ahead and use my name. I don't give a shit about what the crazies think. That's I don't know. That would suck to be held to a promise that you made under duress when you were, I don't know, 8.
You know what really gets me is when people post like about their 8-year-olds, like saying like, oh, so-and-so chose to get baptized. I'm so proud. And I'm just like, was it really a choice? Like, do you have a choice? Like you want to have a party? Like most kids, like from what I see, especially in like living in this Mormon area, like most kids, it's like a birthday party. Like getting baptized, like you get presents and
I remember when my parents
and stuff.
My parents asked me if I wanted to get baptized, and my reaction to that was, "Why are you asking me?"
Right.
And because
the law.
I wondered in my head, like, what would happen if I say no? Like, I didn't even consider saying no. I was 8 years old.
Right.
Who's going to consider that?
You wouldn't want to.
I was like, of course, I'm faithful. But what if I did say no? What would happen? Like, are they just going to be like, all right, we'll drop it?
All right, well, don't worry about coming to church on Sunday. I guess you can just play video games all day.
This is our 9-year-old Jared. He's not Mormon, but the rest of us are. That doesn't happen.
That doesn't quite seem plausible. Yeah, I get that. I think it's just like, it's sad to think like I'm going to pull it back up for a second. It's just sad to think like the mom sitting them down and being like, you promised me you are all getting married in the temple, right? Like, to like see that as like inspiring and as a prompting is scary to me. But at the same time, like I know where she's coming from. Like she thinks this is their eternal salvation. And so it's super important. It's so important that it's okay to manipulate people into doing it. And that's what's scary, right? Like it's so important that we don't have to be honest and we don't have to worry about boundaries. Like a perfect example I have is like a friend of mine set some boundaries with her mother about what gifts she could get the kids for Christmas. She didn't want her mom giving them a bunch of like Jesus stuff or LDS stuff. Like she didn't want to confuse her kids because like they're still fresh out of church and she didn't want to, just make it more difficult on them as they're trying to navigate what they believe. Anyway, so her mom went ahead and bought like this compiled book, like stories of Jesus, and gave it to them, even though she wasn't supposed to. And it was like, but in that the grandma's shoes and my friend's mom's shoes is like, that was like the noble thing to do, like to break that boundary to possibly bring those kids back. Like it was more important, than
well, your boundary, you can either break your boundary with Jesus or you can break your boundary with your kid. And Jesus is supposed to be more important to you. And like seriously not doing everything you can to return the lost sheep to the flock is breaking a promise with Jesus. So I'm like, sorry, daughter. It's you or Jesus. I'm choosing Jesus. You didn't die for my sins.
You did.
Bitch.
Not yet. Yeah, bitch. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Next one. I watched a Sunday school teacher blubber as she bore her testimony about how she was blessed for following the prophet by taking out her second set of earrings. And then it was funny because someone else commented and said, try being that blubbering fool. Oh, so embarrassing.
Oh, man. Yeah. I remember, speaking of blubbering, I remember do you remember that math teacher we both had that cried?
He was a blubbering fool, yes.
He was.
So
like
we were
nice
at BYU,
guy.
Idaho.
God, he was so annoying. He was just teaching like Math 109, teaching us about
like
interest rates and shit like that.
Or math in the real world. That's what
that's what it was. Called. But he spent half of the class talking about God and stuff. I get so annoyed, and he'd start crying about how some principle he taught us about the golden ratio, and how it makes the perfect spiral thing that's a mathematical principle, and it just because of a perfect spiral, I know beyond shadow of a doubt, and Joseph Smith was prophet. Also something about Jesus too,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it was like I grew up in St. Louis, and so public school there very different than school here. So going to BYU Idaho after growing up in public school and like in a totally different state was super strange for me. And I liked it. I liked that we could like pray in class and stuff. And I thought that was cool. But I also felt like some teachers they just took it too far. Like it's great that you have a testimony. It's great that you love seeing like God in math, but like also like this is a class that I'm trying to get a grade for, and you just won't stop preaching instead of like teaching.
You had that math teacher that made you go to devotional as part of a grade.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
The devotionals like on Tuesdays at 3:30 or something. All the classes closed down, and
how is that legal?
They give you like a talk on church stuff. It's like a general conference style talk.
Yeah.
And Morgan had a math teacher in her math major. It wasn't even a low level teacher, I don't think. Who made her go to devotional as part of her grade.
Like we had to check it off like on the assignment. Damn, that was weird. I went to devotional really religiously until we got married, and then I was just like, no.
You went for a little while after
I guess
we
I
got
did.
married.
And then I started listening to it on the radio. And then I started doing homework while I listened to
Well,
it
I think
on
I
the
tried to
radio.
convince you to stop going
And
because you spent too much time on homework, and that was just another hour and a half or whatever lost to homework. And I'd be like, just don't watch it. Do your homework.
I didn't like going because it felt like an obligation that took a lot of time out of the day when I was really stressed working a lot and school. But like I felt like I had to go, and I would enjoy the talks sometimes. Sometimes they were boring. Stop touching yourself. You know, that's all there is to learn. Okay, so we've got a comment here. If you're joining us live, please comment your cringy moments below or cringy moments from people you know. We'd love to read some of those. Okay, so had to work most Sundays in college at a grocery store. One week the bishop came in, and I told him it was people like him that made me have to work on Sunday and miss church. Way to go. Way to throw down with the bishop. Set him straight.
Dude, I loved working Sundays. When we were in Rexburg, I loved working them. I told because the manager would be like, yeah, I know everybody wants to have Sundays off so they can go to church. So the thing is, you can't have every Sunday off. Just, you'll have to work every third Sunday or so. And I was like, dude, schedule me for every single Sunday. He's like, really? You don't care if you miss church? I was like, no. Church feels like work that I don't get paid for, that I pay to go to. And it's a whole, like, having a day off on Sunday is not a day off. Give me my Tuesday off or something like that. And, I'm going to work on it. Plus, it's Rexburg. So few people, it's 98% Mormon. So few people actually come to Wendy's on Sunday. It's the easiest day to work. You just sit around.
Yeah.
I love my Sundays.
You just count the ox in the mire.
Yeah.
The Fibonacci sequence. That's what it was. That's what we would talk about. Yep, the spiraling thing. Nice. All right, here we go. We got a few more. Go ahead.
One time, an old friend from high school posted on Facebook about this busty actress, fully clothed, but, cleavage, and how gorgeous she was. And I jumped down his throat and accused him of objectifying women and having a porn addiction. Oh, man.
Oh.
Well, I wish she would have said what actress it was.
Would it make a difference?
Yeah.
You're like, if it's so-and-so, he probably was a porn addict?
Yeah.
Like if it was a porn star?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It was
Mormon boys.
It was Chris Farley, I bet.
What?
Yeah.
Busty.
He's very fat. It was a fat joke.
Very busty. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Here I go, objectifying Chris Farley.
Objectifying men. All right. Oh, that sounds funny. A coworker of mine was engaged and came and told me that she was pregnant, and she was so excited. And my response was, weren't you gonna get married first? Oh man, like I could see myself not saying something like that, but like thinking that. Like this girl comes to me and like she's pregnant, she's, got a boyfriend or she's engaged or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, that's so exciting. On the inside, I'd be like, oh no. Hopefully they stay together. Yeah, but I also kind of had that fail safe in my head where I would just think like, oh, they don't know better, like if they weren't Mormon. Now, if it was a Mormon friend that came to me and said like, I'm pregnant, and yeah, I'd be like, sinning against the greater lie.
How dare you?
Oh, Jesus, have mercy on her vagina. Okay. Here we go.
TBM grandma would pay the grandchildren $100 to read the Book of Mormon. She also screamed at my younger sister for wearing a cross that a Christian friend had given my sister.
$100. I love nothing more than spiritual bribery.
I mean, it would have given you something. Like, I didn't enjoy going to church. If you pay me to do it, that would make it bearable.
But like, as a TBM person,
no,
like,
I understand. It's totally.
How could you fathom in your mind that like this would be an appropriate action? Like, I'm gonna make sure they read the Book of Mormon, so I'm gonna pay them if they do it. Like, what kind of precedence is that setting for that child? Like, do you understand what that must be doing to them mentally? Like,
feels like it's almost priestcraft or something.
Right? The only thing, like, that reminds me of when, so one of my brothers once snuck out and stole the car and drove to see his girlfriend, and my parents got super mad, my mom and my stepdad actually, and to punish him, do you remember what happened?
Didn't they make him read the Book of Mormon or something? Like,
yes! They told him as punishment, like, he had to spend 2 weeks, like, reading his scriptures. Like, I was like, do you not see how fucked up that is?
We'll show you.
Like, punish you by making you read the word of God. Like, literally, if you teach him that church is a punishment, like, you're just gonna make him hate church, which he does now. So congratulations.
Steal the car again, we're gonna make you brush your teeth for a month.
Oh my god.
Went to see your girlfriend.
Steal it again, we're gonna make you wipe your ass for 3 years.
Oh, I won't do it. I won't. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
I picture him with like just sitting there strapped to a chair. He's got those Clockwork Orange things forcing his eyes open, and there's a Book of Mormon next to him. He's like, ah!
No! And then Nephi cut off Laban's head
and came to pass.
Oh my god. Seriously, that was one of like the stupidest punishments they ever gave. Like, it just made no sense at all.
Gonna steal our car. We'll teach you. Now you gotta talk to God. Have a personal relationship with your savior.
Oh, yeah. I just like, I don't know. These our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, just punishment was and reward were just a totally different ball game than they are now for some reason.
Mom, can't you just hit me?
Oh no. Oh my god. Okay, here we go. We just got, I think, like 3 more. Okay. My husband wasn't active, and I was gloriously taking our 5 young kids to church by myself. I told him he evidently doesn't love the children as much as I do, because if he did, he would be working as hard as I am for the celestial kingdom. That seriously like hits home for me, because like that's like the kind of thing I would have thought. Like, that's absolutely what I would have thought. I was like very Mormon martyr, like, you know what I mean? Like, I sacrificed so much for the Lord, and you know, but it wasn't for the Lord, it was for the church. And I mean, I think I tried to have a relationship with God, but so much of my sacrifices were petty. And that was for the church, you know, like not getting my ear pierced. I hope God doesn't give a shit about that. No, and that whole, like, you don't love them as much. So manipulative. Like, if you loved them, you would do ABC. That's so coercive. Like, spiritually and emotionally extremely coercive.
I mean, you think you'd want someone to go to church because they know it's true and they know that they're supposed to. It feels like sort of a hollow victory of like, hey, he came back to church because I guilted him. Made him feel just unending shame.
See, that's just not true with Mormons, though, because they don't think of it that way. They just think it's better that someone's there, even if they don't believe.
Yeah.
And even if they don't want to be there, it's still the best place for them to be. So, for example, I have a friend who is engaged, and she just told her mom that she doesn't want to get married in the temple. And because she's having, she's trying to work through like what she believes, and like it's a big commitment. She's not endowed yet, and she's apprehensive about getting endowed. So she, at least right now, doesn't want to get married in the temple. So she wants to maybe do a temple marriage later. And when she told her mom was like, you should just do it anyway. And she was like, I don't feel comfortable. Like, I'll just call her Susie. Like, Susie's like, Mom, I don't feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel like I could honestly answer the questions that the bishop is asking me. And she's like, no, you should just do it anyway. It'd be good for you. And she's like, even if I have to lie? And her mom just like wouldn't, like, just couldn't get it. Like, and so it's really interesting because there's so much fear of going to hell, so much fear of God's judgment, that it's like, it'd be better for you to lie your way into the temple and go there out of like in disintegrity. What's the word? Not integrity, not honestly. Be better for you to be there than to not be there, even if you don't believe in it, which is weird. And that's actually like not like, I think of the sacrament, right? And they tell you like, if you're sinning, you're not supposed to take the sacrament because like it would be bad for you. But they don't teach you that with like the temple. I don't know. It's kind of strange. Let's see here. We got a comment. Found it. Wanted to be sure of the words. Mark Twain called the Book of Mormon the chloroform in print is what Mark Twain called the Book of Mormon. Yes, I have heard that quote many times.
He was actually married to a Mormon.
Don't Mormons quote Mark Twain too?
Well, yeah, but like...
But he was such a popular writer.
I mean, he said a lot of profound things. There's a lot of people who said things that I think are really stupid, but other things that I think are really great.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of people that have said a lot of profound things that also haven't called the Book of Mormon chloroform in print.
Yeah, but Mark...
I think you could quote them.
But Mark Twain is exceptionally eloquent. So it's like you don't want to just throw away an arsenal of good quotes. You're not going to use the chloroform in print one. And if somebody points it out when you're a Mormon, you're like, yeah, I mean, he was wrong about that.
Yeah, I do wonder, though, if church leaders, like, do they know that he said that when they quote him? I wonder if they know. I don't know.
I'm sure someone showed them.
Maybe some of them. Anyway.
It's pretty well known, is what I'm saying.
We've just got a couple more. So if you have any more cringy moments for us in the comments or anything funny to add, please drop some comments below. Okay. Yeah, this one, and then there's one more. This is the... Okay, so to explain what this is, someone found this at a library. Okay, so this is at a public library. And over this Book of Mormon is the cover for To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh.
Yes, and it's funny because so I found this on Instagram. And the guy captioned, he said, apparently someone found this. What a disgrace to the truly incredible book To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Did you steal a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird from the library so you could put the cover over a Book of Mormon?
Okay, there's layers to this. There are layers to unpack about this because, like, first of all, what Mormon was thinking to themselves, like, I know how I'm going to convert people.
Using trickery?
Stealth. I'm going to use stealth mode. And
I don't remember Atticus Finch being in Jerusalem. How far into that book do you think they're going to get before, like, what the fuck?
But that's what I was Like,
they're just gonna flip one page and see the Book of Mormon. What?
oh my god, seriously, like that was the other thought I had. Like,
You get like 300
Did
pages
they
and you're like,
think-
wait a minute. This wasn't even To Kill a Mockingbird. But it's pretty great. Here's my money. 10% of it.
I was just thinking, like, what Mormon put that in there and thought, like, someone's gonna open that and they're gonna think, oh, this isn't To Kill a Mockingbird, and then they're gonna think, I guess I'll read it anyway. Like, if I went to buy a book and I opened it up and it was a different book, I don't think my first reaction would be like, I guess I have to read it. I just don't have a choice now.
I'm so
I'm
annoyed because
trapped.
it's trying to get Harry Potter, and it turns out now I gotta read the Quran. Ugh. Allahu Akbar.
And the Quran is pretty boring from what I've heard. So, I mean, yeah, that's brutal.
Scripture is generally pretty boring if you don't believe in it.
True. I mean, there's a few spicy parts of the Book of Mormon, but they're far and few between. You know, there's some head cutting off, but other than that, kind of boring. There's some polygamy. No, wait. No, there's not polygamy.
Polygamy in the Book of Mormon is an abomination.
That's right.
Because that part was written before Joseph Smith decided he wanted to bang the maid.
Whoopsie. Whoopsie, whoopsie, whoopsie. All right, we got the grand finale coming up here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, we'll full screen it. This was in my in-laws' living room. And if you can't see or you're listening, it's a framed picture of Nelson over a framed picture of the temple over a fireplace. Decorated for Christmas also. That makes it even better. So I just I never knew any Mormons to do that. And I know they exist, but I never knew any that would do stuff like that. And that is, I just find that so strange. Like, I understand putting a framed picture of Jesus up in your house. For some reason, I just find this so creepy and just very over the top. Did you ever know anyone to do something like that?
I mean,
it's literally
it's
the mantle place big picture.
Come to think of it, most Mormons have pictures of Jesus, you know?
Right.
I've seen a couple busts of Joseph Smith, but
I did see that too.
Or
pictures, paintings.
The statue of Christ, the Christie or whatever it's
called. See that statue a lot.
The ones that decorate a bunch.
It was in style in Mormonism.
I don't think I've ever seen any of them put a picture of an apostle on the wall or a prophet, other than maybe Joseph Smith or Jesus, because those two are Jesus is almost as cool as Joseph Smith to them, but that is weird. And especially if you're gonna fanboy out over any prophet, why the hell would you choose Nelson?
Well, that's the thing, is they clearly they don't care about Nelson. It's just that he's the prophet. Yeah. So they're gonna put his picture up. When he dies, they're gonna put, who's next? Bednar?
Oaks, I think.
Oaks.
Yeah.
Hopefully not Bednar.
No, Bednar will be the prophet for a long time.
He is gonna take any progress that's made in the church, and he's gonna reverse it. Like missionaries have to wear ties again, and
women aren't even allowed to come to General Conference anymore.
Women can't pray in General Conference anymore. It is redacted. Also, there's gonna be 18 added questions to the temple interview. And yeah. No, I'm not looking forward to that. Hopefully that day doesn't happen. It's gonna happen, right? He's so much younger than the other ones.
I can't remember the exact numbers, but I remember looking at it, and the one that's above him is significantly older than he is.
Yeah.
So
we are in for some fun.
I think it was, if I remember correctly, somebody put together a list of average ages that prophets die at, and predicted that Bednar would be prophet for 12, 13, 15 years, something like that. I can't remember.
He is just like,
I could be totally wrong about that. It's been years since I've seen it. But.
He is very much a stick in the mud compared to the other apostles. I like some of them. Like, I like Holland, even though Musket Fire really shattered me. I like Uchtdorf, even though, some of his talks have been upsetting as well. It's like, I don't know. They seem like, I'd like to think they're good guys, and I've found inspiration from them, in my Mormon life.
I don't like Holland.
But
he's just the best actor.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He's the closest thing to a good public speaker they have, because he is like the only.
Yeah.
He's the only one that doesn't do the Mormon prophet voice. In his talks.
You're right.
He talks somewhat differently.
With like a somewhat unique inflection.
Yeah.
Oh, last call for funny, cringy moments if you guys want to comment them while we're talking about this. So you're right. He maybe part of why we liked him so much was because he was a very engaging speaker.
He's more theatrical. He's more
very theatrical. Remember when he held the what was it? The Book of Mormon from
the Hiram Smith Book of Mormon.
Yes, yeah, from 18 whatever.
That was when our entire generation decided he was our favorite. And
yeah. It was a cool moment.
I mean, I got sucked in by it.
He could not lie.
I was on my mission.
He would not lie.
They would not do that. I was like, and then you look at the argument. Would they go to their graves spouting from a book that was a lie? They wouldn't do that.
It was
Is that
really
the best
powerful.
argument you got? You're like, yeah.
Well, it's like it was almost like he was trying to make like a logical, what do you call it? Like argument.
Fallacy.
Like essentially just like it just wouldn't make sense. Why would they choose to die instead of just be like, just kidding, we made it up?
He used,
like
he used a type of logic. The problem wasn't with the logic. The problem was with the absolute lack of details that would change the direction that logic would take you.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Like the fact that, like, I don't know. Joseph Smith wanted to not die in Carthage. He didn't, he thought he might die, but he didn't plan on dying.
Well, and I wonder at that point, like, how much, like, even saying, like, okay, I made it up, how much would that even really fix?
I wouldn't have changed all the townspeople that he seduced their wives.
And their daughters and their, like, I think that there was a real hatred out there for him. So, like,
that's the other detail that's left out.
To say, like, he would rather go to his grave than, like, lie. It's like, well, I don't think that at this point the situation had boiled over so much that it was like, it wasn't like he had an option. Like, people were just pissed with him. And
well, you know who's lying, and you know who's lying when you go back and watch their propaganda from the outside, and you see, like, the bad guys are all just like Joe Smith and that golden Bible, and it's their motivation is always just like, I hate Mormons. That's just my thing. My name is Craig, and I just want Mormons to die, and that's my character. Like, what? Yeah. Why do you want Mormons to die? Well, because they're true, because the church is true, and I don't like truth, and I hate God, and Satan is my master. This like cartoon villain.
Yes, yeah, and that's like how it was painted. Like, I remember thinking,
Joseph Smith is always that guy's like, I don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know why they don't like me.
I never professed to be perfect. There was that one time I really pestered God into giving Martin Harris 116 pages that I translated, but I was very, very sorry about that. I've never done anything else.
Oh my God. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, that characterization. But like, as a Mormon growing up, like, you were fed this, like, they were persecuted and they stood strong in the belief and in the faith, and like, we're so lucky we don't have to do that. We're so lucky we live like in the United States and we can have freedom of religion and we can practice our religion without persecution anymore. But if people make fun of you or ask you how many wives your dad has, like you just like you keep being strong, which happened to me a lot in Missouri. People didn't know what Mormons were, and all they could associate Mormons with was polygamy. So people asked me all the time, how many wives does your dad have? And I usually just say, I lost count. Like, and they would just be like, and then we would move on. And anyway, but yeah, so just, yeah, they very much grew up with that narrative that like they were persecuted, but like why? And I think in my what I was taught was that the reason they were persecuted was because they thought Joseph was arrogant, like saying he talked to God, like that was just so arrogant that they just wanted to shoot him, which didn't make any sense. So
I was also kind of told that it was Satan in their hearts. It was like Satan knew it was true and he wanted to stop it, so he would,
trick people into
convince people into hating the Mormons for no reason.
And then you wonder, like, well, how much power does Satan actually have if he could do something like that? If he could just get a mob of people to go kill someone, like what is their free agency gone? Do they have agency? Did Satan possess them? Does that mean they're not accountable for the bad things they did to Joseph Smith?
I know. See,
Satan made them do it?
Satan is very
elusive.
His power set is very vague.
It's true.
I think all the prophets agree that he can fly for sure.
What?
And
is that like a thing?
No, I'm just kidding. I was talking about superpowers, but
oh my god, I was like, what?
Telekinesis? Yeah, that's for sure.
Really shocking.
You hear a lot of reports of shit floating.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It also seems selective because
clearly.
He is a waterbender. It says that in Doctrine and Covenants. He controls the waters. It's just Doctrine and Covenants. It says that Satan controls the waters. And that's why one of my mission companions thought we weren't allowed to swim. I was like, nah, man, I think it's just a liability thing.
You're like so rational. He's like, no, Satan will drown us.
Some douchebags died in the water.
I'm like, why have I never heard of people drowning on Sunday?
Yeah.
I remember I went to like a pool party that my uncles were having, even though they were Mormon. Sinful. And but I was like, I didn't bring a swimsuit because I was like gonna be the strong one and not wear a swimsuit because, well, I was being cringy. And then what ended up happening was they took me, my uncles, and tossed me into the pool. And I was like, whoa. It's not a sin because they just like made me swim. So then I just stayed in the pool in my clothes and I had a great time. And my clothes were extra white after that, I guess.
It's also really weird.
But my sin was not because they forced me into the pool, but I could have got out. But I didn't. So they started the sin, but then I continued the sin.
It's also just weird to use, like from an archetypal perspective, to use water as something that Satan would control, because water is like life-giving. Water is like most spiritual people, different types of spirituality view water as something kind of sacred. It's like equating Satan, like he has power over the trees, life, shit like that. Let's say he has power over, I don't know, toxic waste.
Why would you give him power over that? Seemed
God had to give him something.
God, that seemed like a big mistake on your part.
Yeah, God was like, shit, I forgot you're like 80% water. Hopefully he doesn't learn to blood bend.
Oh, Howland said Mormons use water for communion. Ooh. Yes. So that's kind of a weird thing. Go ahead.
Nothing. You're right. Yeah, they use water for their sacrament, their version of communion.
If you're familiar with Catholic communion, I think, don't they have those cracker things?
They have wafers and wine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wine.
Mormons used wine back in the day.
I thought it was grape juice.
It's
That was a joke. That's a Mormon joke.
it's wine, and they I guess they probably, I don't remember when they stopped. It was obviously after, because the word of wisdom saying you can't drink alcohol, it wasn't actual like a hard rule. It was kind of just a suggestion. And then like in the 20s, around the Prohibition era, they're like, nope, we're not allowed to drink wine anymore or alcohol at all. So I imagine it might have been around that time they stopped using wine.
Yeah, so Mormon communion, we call it sacrament, is like they've got these little cups. They're just water, and they bless them for your soul. And also they take some bread and they break it into little pieces, and you each take just like a little piece of the bread and the little cup.
It also
I would
kind of
always
makes
try
it,
to sneak the cup, like keep it to play with, as like, because I was a kid and I liked putting silly putty in it and playing with it, anyway. But my mom would like get mad if I kept the sacrament cup. I was supposed to throw it away.
I know. I always wanted to keep it.
I wanted
and play
to
with
keep
it.
it. Yes.
Yeah. No,
we're so in love.
That's also kind of funny, the sacrament, because it would have been like a good rebuttal to the whole Brad Wilcox thing where he talked about how other Christian churches are just playing church. And he's just like, wait a minute, the sacrament, like if I was a little kid, because our sacrament, Mormon sacrament, is like little cups of water and like fucking Wonder Bread. And sometimes somebody forgets to bring the bread. So you got to go to the church freezer and like unthaw Wonder Bread in the microwave. And
so
one
holy.
kid just put it in the plastic sack in the microwave and almost started a fire. And then we had to get the other frozen loaf unthawed. So it was this, parts of it were stale and the rest of it was mushy. It was disgusting. And that sounds like if a little kid really loved going to church as a Catholic and wanted to play church when he got home, he'd get a little cup of water and a little piece of bread to represent those things.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a funny observation.
Oh man, I wish I had downloaded that Brad Wilcox talk before they took it down so I could upload it. But yeah, if you're not familiar with what happened with Brad Wilcox, as Jared's referring to, is this guy. What is he? The young men's.
I don't know. He's a general authority.
He's some kind of general authority.
He gave a talk that pissed a lot of people off. The part I was referring to is he said claimed that other Christian churches are just playing church.
Yeah. So, which is what Mormons believe, So it wasn't like super shocking.
Yeah, it's not like don't be insulted by it. Yeah. Just be like, yeah, you're wrong.
Howland said, so what's the satanic threshold between communion and baptism and swimming?
It doesn't make any sense for, like, I guess if I were a Mormon and I, put my Mormon hat on and I believe in that stupid, that stupid water, Satan controlling the water thing, and you ask me the question about the sacrament, I would say, well, it's been blessed. So Satan doesn't have power over that water.
Like, what about
and
drinking
then
water?
And then you would ask me, well, why don't you just go like bless an ocean? And then I'd be like, because I can't. It's too big, I guess. I don't know. It would it's easy to poke holes in it.
Yeah, what if you just bless all the food in the entire world? Then you don't have to pray as much. So that'd be nice. Instead of having to pray over every meal. Anyway, side tangent. I love this comment from Sunshine. I used to pick out the biggest piece of sacrament bread because I was always so hungry. So especially like on Fast Sunday. On Fast Sunday, that's the only thing you're allowed to eat and drink is the sacrament. So
very
that's
relatable. Super
funny to just like, which one's the biggest piece? Like I'm so hungry. I love that. Oh man. Let's see. Mama Joe, hello. Our church had a baking ministry where members baked the bread for communion. Baking ministry. That sounds delicious.
That's cool. The rest of your church sounds terrible, Mama Joe, I'll be honest with you, but
Yeah.
but the baking part sounds nice.
Let's see. I was always told Satan had charge over the oceans, so other water was fine. Does that mean you can't go scuba diving?
Son of a bitch.
Or just not on a Sunday?
You could have gone. You could have swam.
I could have swam in that pool.
Son of a bitch.
I could have brought my swimsuit instead of getting thrown in. That would have been nice. Yeah.
Well, the church never answers questions like these because it's a coward. It doesn't want to answer questions because people who already have the pre-answers in their head that don't line up with the answer that they give will be pissed off. I don't know. The church tries to just have opinions on anything.
They are very careful about what
except gay marriage. They have lots of opinions on gay marriage. They seem that's their
outside of
their
homosexuality and porn.
Oh yeah, they're very against porn.
They're not very specific about other things like other doctrines and stuff. Like if you ask them like, well, what's going to happen in heaven? Like, what if I, get married, but then my husband leaves the church. And then I get married to someone else, but me and Jared never got temple divorced, and I never got temple married to the other husband. Does that mean I'm married to Jared for eternity?
You should have got temple married to the other guy.
You know what? Just have faith and God will figure it out for you. And it's like, well, then what? Why is it so important? Why are these ordinances so important if God's just going to like undo it anyway? Let's see. Sunshine said, "Oh, Mama Joe, there was a lady in our ward that made fresh baked yeast bread for our sacrament, and it was torture to take only one tiny little piece." Oh, that's funny. I always thought it was ridiculous that missionaries couldn't swim. Where did Satan being a part of the water come into play? I seriously always knew that, but never had an answer. So I think it's in the Doctrine and Covenants, right? That Satan has charge over the water.
I told him not to travel by water on Sunday, I think.
Someone look it up. And
they were using boats in canals to get to places, and the revelation told them not to because Satan controlled the water. But no, the missionaries not being able to swim thing it's a liability thing because the church
they won't say this. They won't say this ever, but
they're in charge of you. They don't want you to do anything that
you could hurt yourself.
Yeah, if you drown, they are legally on the hook for you.
Yeah, they have to bring you back to life.
I think they're actually in charge of like your insurance and everything. They have to bring you back to life. Yeah.
Seriously. But yeah, no, it was weird, and there was just a lot of assumptions, like as far as just like with the whole water thing, like, and it was almost like, yeah, like you were scared that something bad would happen to you if you swam on a Sunday, which was just strange because
I wasn't. I didn't ever.
I was.
My family didn't.
A lot of Mormons
take that
were
seriously.
Yeah. Well, and then there was like your sister with her mission. Did you want to share the story or not?
That was because she was a missionary. That was the idiot told her. My sister, when she was going on a mission, my family was going to drive her down, stay a night in a hotel, and then drop her off at the missionary training center. And she was going to get technically called as a missionary, like set apart. You're officially a missionary before we left. And so she was like, "Hey, so I figured this be okay, but I thought I'd asking our stake president, is it okay if my family's going to be at the hotel with me? I know I'm technically a missionary, but can I just like jump in the water with them and swim on that last day with my family for a year and a half?" And he was just like, "Sorry, sister, I can't let that slide." And she was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll just, I guess I'll just dip my feet in the water while they're doing it." He's like, "I honestly can't even let you do that." I was like, "Oh man."
No, he said, I remember word for word what he said. He said, "I wouldn't do that if I were you."
I just like, I wanted to.
He's like, scary.
I wanted to hit him in the fucking jaw because I was like, hey, "Fuck you, man. My sister's an adult. She can don't tell her
she can
can't
swim if she wants to swim.
Let her
like,
be with her family on her last and do something fun with her family. She's going to do your thing for a year and a half. That's all she's going to do ever for that year and a half.
Yeah.
Is do your thing and get more people in your thing. Just give this one tiny thing to her.
I think he was legitimately afraid that like something bad would happen to her. It was weird. Like it's that whole like Satan has control over the water. It's fucking weird. Colton, love you. Okay. We are gonna wrap this up in just a minute. If anyone has any more comments, go ahead. And the whole caffeine coffee thing makes no sense at all. Caffeine is caffeine. Why can Mormons drink Diet Coke and Mountain Dew, but not green tea, which is the same chemical compound, caffeine? Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know.
Mormons have tried to answer the tea thing for a long time.
They really have settled in just saying it's an obedience thing. Like, God will bless you for following this rule that no one understands. That's what they've settled into. It's the best answer you can give because it makes no goddamn sense.
That's the only answer you can really give, because they tried for a while to say the caffeine thing, and then some Mormon leaders like, no, we can drink caffeine, and I grew up thinking we weren't allowed to drink caffeine. Well, my mom didn't let us.
Just for those who don't know what we're talking about, Mormons aren't allowed to drink tea or coffee. And when you ask them why, some of them don't know what to say. So they'll say it's because of the caffeine while they are chugging Mountain Dews. So it just doesn't make sense. Anyway, keep going.
And like the other part of it is in the actual word of wisdom, when it's referring to coffee and tea, it calls them hot drinks and says they're bad for the belly. But it's always interpreted as being those hot drinks. You can drink hot chocolate, which also has caffeine in it. Some people try to interpret it as caffeine. It's because there's caffeine, but then you can poke holes in it by saying, but you're allowed to drink Coke. And they're like, oh, okay, so I guess it's not the caffeine. Maybe it's the amino acids or something. And then eventually they really have to say, well, I don't know why we can't drink caffeine. It's because God says so. And you have to do what God says.
Right. Some of them think that there's something in coffee that's bad for you and that science just hasn't figured it out yet. And like science will catch up to like.
They use smoking as an example because smoking also wasn't allowed in the Word of Wisdom. And that was, so Mormons weren't allowed to smoke well before we knew that
how
there were
bad
health detriments.
Smoking, like how horrible smoking was for your
lungs. Well, even as recently as like the 60s,
right.
Doctors would prescribe cigarettes to you they would
for anxiety,
suggest, if you have anxiety, have a cigarette. It worked, but the cost-benefit analysis wasn't done.
I mean, it works for your anxiety.
It worked kind of.
It did not work for your lungs. Oh, man. Sunshine said, I never understood that either. It's like hot chocolate. It has caffeine in it, too. And it's also a hot drink. That's a good point, because chocolate has caffeine. I never thought of it that way. Well, shit. I guess we're all sinners. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Sunshine also said, I grew up even not being able to drink Coke or Mountain Dew. And she said now it's apparently allowed. So crazy. So there was a lot of people in the older generations that thought you couldn't drink caffeinated drinks. And I think it was because of coffee and tea that they thought that. It was never doctrine. It was never spoken from the pulpit or in the Word of Wisdom that you couldn't drink specifically caffeine or caffeinated drinks. But it was very much implied. And it was so heavily implied that many people thought it was doctrine for a long time. So I don't exactly know what happened with that. It was super strange. Seventh-day Adventists, we don't drink caffeine, no Coke, no coffee, or no tea.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Dude, email me and tell me more about your story. Post my email. I really want to interview a Seventh-day Adventist because I bet there's a ton of parallels. Anyway, all right. Emma Smith didn't want to clean up after all the men when the meetings were over. That's when Joseph says, yeah. suddenly had the revelation. Yep, I've heard that story. So like we used to think the word of wisdom was this inspired thing. Like God said, don't drink coffee and tea and don't do these other things. But like what ended up happening was the men were spitting chewed tobacco on the floor and the women had to scrape it up and they were pissed. And Emma was like, hey, Joseph, it'd be super nice if you just told them not to do that anymore. So then he's like, the Lord has said, don't do it anymore.
So no, it was kind of funny. She said it in like a snarky sort of way. Like, seems like God would have something to say about this. and I don't remember who it was, if it was Parley Pratt. It was one of the early church guys, might have even been Brigham Young, came back and said, well, if he doesn't let us have tobacco, and if he doesn't let us have tobacco, then he probably shouldn't let you guys have your coffee or tea, because apparently that was, I don't know,
but the ladies would drink.
More woman thing.
Yeah, back then.
And it's like, if I don't get my thing, you don't get your thing. And then Joseph Smith was like, yeah, I don't do those things.
Says the Lord.
Yeah, God said that, not me.
Also, God said you need to forgive me, Emma.
Yeah.
That's a reference to the Doctrine and Covenants 132. Yeah, it's hard to not forgive your husband when the Lord tells your husband to tell you that you should forgive your husband. So, gotta do what you gotta do. As a never been Mormon, it never made sense to me, these Mormon sins that aren't in the Bible. I could understand calling them religious disciplines, but sins, drink coffee, go to hell, seriously? I totally agree with you. It makes God seem just like a petty asshole. Like the being that made the universe, like, he doesn't want you, like, he's really preoccupied with you drinking coffee. It just seems so ridiculous. And that it was a very toxic way to learn about God growing up, because it was like God cares about all these little actions that made you very anxious. Like you were always like worried you were going to mess something up. And yeah, it just felt
but it's also pretty common in religions. I don't know. I do feel like Mormons might catch more shit for that than other religions, because nobody like makes fun of Jews and Muslims for like, you're going to go to hell if you eat a ham sandwich. So I think it's pretty common to have weird, seemingly arbitrary restrictions in religion. So I don't know.
Seems easier to respect those, but I guess because Mormonism hits too close to home.
Yeah, for some reason, coffee and tea just sound stupid, like even more dumb than ham. And it's probably because Judaism and Islam are very, very old religions, so they've just always been around.
Have more respect for them.
Yeah, and so like, well, it's weird, but it's always been weird. Mormonism is
your grandfather did or something.
Yeah, Mormonism's like, what? Coffee? You just do ham like the rest of your buddies.
Those are the cool kids are hating.
If I had to give up coffee or bacon, I'd probably give up coffee as a religion.
I'd have to pray about that. I'm just kidding. Mama Joe said, we're all going to Mormon hell, which really isn't that bad. It's not good, but it's okay. But you missed when we talked about how Joseph Smith taught that the terrestrial kingdom, the lowest kingdom, I always forget which one it is, telestial, I think, telestial, whatever. The lowest kingdom is better than like this life. Like you would kill yourself to get there. It's so awesome, which is just a terrifying teaching. Anyway, so Mormon hell is actually really awesome, unless it's outer darkness, which some people think maybe you just don't exist. Other people think, I don't know, maybe you're tortured or something. But supposedly most people aren't going to go to that, which is like the actual hell. There's all the boring heavens, and then there's hell. Anyway, it's weird, guys. It's fucking weird. I remember one of the first times I tried to explain all of that to someone, and it just felt diagrams. It felt so weird.
You look like Charlie Day in that Always Sunny meme, where he's like pointing to the whiteboard, and he's got these lines going everywhere in circles. That's how you teach people the plan of salvation.
Yeah.
We did have to respond to Kevin here. He said, I drink mine, his coffee, with Bailey's. I must be going to a separate section.
Yes.
And what I was going to say to that is, it's actually, you found a little scapegoat because, or not a scapegoat, you found a loophole, because actually those two sins, coffee and alcohol, cancel each other out.
Oh, it's like
subtracting a negative.
And a negative makes a positive.
So you'll be fine.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Dude, way to go. Also, shout out to Kevin and Mama Joe for being Patreon supporters for our channel. Thank you guys so much. Without people like you, it'd be really hard. I mean, we just couldn't afford to. This is expensive. Everything that's required to run this channel. Okay, thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. If you're watching this video in the future, comment your cringy moments below and we'll use them for a future episode. Thanks. That was so fun. Thanks for making us laugh. Thanks for making us smile. And we will see you guys in the next video. Oh, wait. I need to leave you with this. Peace.